Hey everybody, welcome to a Monday morning edition of Box Seats. I am your host, Frank Holder. I'm sitting here with comedians known as Talent and comedians known as Fig. These comics have been in the comedy game for such a long time. They go back from comedy films, comedy festivals, comedy commercials, everything related to comedy since maybe a little bit before Def Comedy Jam. And now they're joining me in the show that's called the comedy show called Box Seats. First of all, gentlemen, how was your weekend?
Good, very good.
Lovely, man. I went to the grocery store, man, and I found some baby crackers. And I love crackers. You know, in the Box Seats, we love crackers.
It looked like it's going to be that type of show, so let's get ready to get into it. All right, let me jump in right now. Do the COVID report. The COVID report first, real fast, is that Kentucky versus Texas A&M, the NCAA basketball teams, they postponed their game until Wednesday because there was positive tests of the virus on both teams, and including the coaching staff. And here's the big news: over the weekend, the first major league player, Ian Desmond, he opted out of year 2. He plays for the Colorado Rockies, and he's forfeiting $8 million this year, and he forfeited $5.6 million last year. But the caveat is that he put in his contract for this year that he would like to be able to have the ability to be able to come back in if said and so forth. So I'll say he's smart because at the end of the day, you know, that money starts to hurt when it's supposed to be.
That's what I'm saying. You want to see how that money flow.
yeah. Because $8 million to be able to, I don't know. You know what I mean? Out of a $72 million contract, you know, that $8 million, it start to hit you a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh no.
Before we jump into the stories, what's your thought about that, Talent? What's your thought about that, Fig?
It ain't even got to get that far, Frank. It ain't got to be $8 million. When that money get tight, I don't care who you are on the spectrum. That money get tight. You start reading. When my Hulu go off, I'd be like, yo. They cut my Hulu off, B? I got to rethink everything. I call that promoter back that I said no to for $200. You still got that spot?
Fig, what's your thought?
The funny thing, you talk about $8 million. The average person out there be talking about 800, let alone million. 800? Ain't turning down no 800, no 8,000. It's about 8 million. I'm thinking he must have a lot of money that he could, got stashed aside that he could, push that aside for a little while.
Ultimately, when he's like I said, when the season starts, that $8 million is going to come back. I don't care what nobody says. The $8 million, that's a ooh. You know what I mean? Like that what is it? The car note for the Bentley or the car payment for that house that you bought that's $50 million house or something, like, you know what I mean? That's just starts.
Yeah. Yo,
anyway,
John,
let me talk about
$8 million. Wait a minute. $8 million.
Rob
said $8 million.
Let me talk about the big story. The big story is over the weekend, to me anyway. I don't know if y'all saw this, but let me give you everybody back home a synopsis of this real fast. There was a teen who got caught on video calling Cam Newton an ass over and over and over again. And Cam Newton kept saying, well, hey, I'm rich. And the teen said, you're an ass, and you're a free agent. Cam Newton kept saying, hey, I'm sorry, I'm rich. Now, here's the setting. The setting was Cam Newton was at a high school type of thing, whereas he was helping out these kids because he had, part of this function thing where it was a 7-on-7 type of thing. A whole bunch of high school kids were there. A whole bunch of people were there. Parents were there with their kids. I can't still tell if this one teen who was calling him in some names was there with his father. But he kept calling Cam Newton an ass until Cam Newton ended up walking up to him and saying, dude, why you got to, come on, really, why you got to do it? And Cam Newton handled it better than any other athlete I know, hell, any other person. This morning, the teen ends up posting an apology on all social media. Now, I'll say this, for those of you who are not home, when you just hear the story, this teen was a black teen. When I first read the story, I thought it was a white teen because culturally, we have cultural differences where black mothers ain't going out like that. Black fathers ain't going out. You know what I mean? Like no matter how you shape and everything else, a black mother will literally put her foot up in your behind if she finds out you disrespected her like that. You know what I mean? Now, this morning, that kid posted an apology to his parents, posted an apology to the team, to Cam Newton. He went all above and beyond, but the way he was calling Cam Newton an ass, it was so disrespectful that I was like, this dude he really needs somebody to sit him down. So when you hear that story, I'm gonna start with you, Talent. When you hear that story, Tell me you don't think that mama found out last night, because somebody called her and said, you know what your son did? You know what I mean? What's your thought process, Town?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, but my thing is, it's clearly that's what happened. When you go that hard and then you make that about face like that, two things happen. Obviously, you've been reprimanded by somebody that got the power over you. But more importantly, are we diluting what an apology really is? Mm-hmm. Like, because there's so much, this is at an all-time high where we say and yell a bunch of stuff and demean people and curse them out and all that. And then we turn around 24, 48 hours later. I would like to apologize. But do you really mean it? Because you're kind of adamant about calling him an ass. It wasn't an ass one time. He was all types of asses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it takes the umph out of the legitimacy of an apology, first of all. But yeah, Madu got in that ass. Madu said, you crack. I remember when my kids were that young, and out there repping me, I tell them all the way through high school, you leave this house, you represent me. Now, if I get that call or something, you don't want that hammer to come down.
Yeah. I said the same thing. Fig, what's your thought process?
Man, it's clearly a different generation and a different type of parent that's raising those children, because just think about it. If a star like Cam Newton shows up at an event, he had to be something, somebody had to get him there. And those people knew that he was going to be there. I don't think he just popped up out of the blue. And I think there were probably other parents there. Now, had that been me, and even if it wasn't my parents, but just somebody who knew my parents, I probably would have got punched in the face or severely reprimanded by somebody who was a friend of the family or somebody who knew my parents. And then they would have told my parents when I got home, and I would have been reprimanded again. Basically, reprimanded is a nice way of saying having your behind severely whipped. Mm-hmm. And then I would have had to issue an apology after the fact. And like going back to what Taylor just said, you said you got some nerve acting like a complete fool when you out there in the street because you represent me when you go outside of this house. It's a different type of parenting.
Now here's the big thing. A whole bunch of athletes responded to this on the internet. They were saying, wow, whoever's the parent of this kid should be ashamed of themselves and everything else. Now, I will say this. Honestly, there's a lot of parents who don't know what their kids do when they leave outside the house, when they go somewhere. That kid did not expect that to get back to his mama. And it got back to his mama, probably got back to his dad, if his dad's around, everything else. And then they found out later, because they might, listen, they're in our age group and maybe a little bit older. They might not even known about social media. They might not even know that, but people came to them and said, do you know what your son did? Do you see? And then showed his mama the video, because when you see the video, I mean, the level of disrespect. Because Cam Newton, let's look at it from Cam Newton's side of the point. Cam Newton came there and dedicated his time, dedicated his energy to help these kids with the 7-on-7. Like, those camps, like a basketball camp. It was a football camp. He didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? Right. And then when you hear it coming from all these other athletes, and it's coming from all these circles around, I mean, I can't even imagine my mother, because, woo.
Man, let me tell you, it is really insane, because how bad it was. Let me tell you the difference of how things changed. When I was a kid, even the kids that were considered gangsters, when adults came around, if back in the day, if they were smoking a cigarette or drinking a bottle or whatever it was, doing something that they probably wouldn't do in front of their parents, and somebody parent came by, whatever they were doing, they would put it away, and they would be like, hello, Miss So-and-so, or hi, Mr. So-and-so, or whatever, and stuff like that. There was a level of respect for adults, whether your parents was around or not. And these were the gangsters, the guys who ended up going to jail, who ended up doing things that was against the law and stuff like that. When parents came around, there was a level of respect that you had for the parents. You just wouldn't do that. So to do that to a celebrity who volunteered their time, even if they were getting paid, volunteered their time to be able to come to something like that, you disrespected them. Oh my God, you could never.
But the level, I understand what you're saying, Fee, but like Talon said, it's even worse, because your family name is now associated forever to be associated with this bad thing that happened, and now forever, ever, you know what I mean? And then it's on social media, so it won't go away. You know what I mean? It's one thing you could do something and it's one thing. It's another thing if you do something that's on social media and you can't take it down. You know what I mean? I think that's the level of disrespect. It's already super disrespectful, but to the point where your mother's out there hard working, your dad's out there working hard just to get you. First of all, you had to get to that camp. You had to be special to get to that, because that camp wasn't open to everybody. You had to be special to get to that camp. Now you get to that camp and you're gonna show your ass like that. That's why I was like, I mean, I got so hot, like that kid was my son. I was like, man. And I know a lot of people who saw that, especially the athletes, just got the anger in them, like, because they know they take their time and they already up here and they already take a lot of stuff from a lot of people anyway. You know what I mean?
I think his name is attached to this camp. I think I read somewhere it's something that he does, but more importantly, somebody has to be the bigger person anyway. Like I'm never even responding to that. Like much less saying I'm rich. That's a horrible response, but I'm not even responding to that. You have to know that you're here. These people are here. You're helping these people. You're trying to help these people. Once you know your position, I don't even respond to it. It's like people chatting about you and what you do. You know what I mean? Fig's a comedian. You got these young up and coming, Fig's an ass, blah, blah. If I'm Fig, I'm not even answering that. Like I'm keeping my thing moving and doing the positive work I'm doing, because he's there for everybody, not this one kid. And when you stop down and go back and forth with this one kid, I think we had a case of this like a year or two ago on Twitter with like NBA people. Like, and I'm like, why are you answering this kid? Like, you leave that. You can let some of this stuff just sit in cyberspace.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think Cam Newton responding to that gave the story more life. You know what I mean? I definitely agree with that.
Somebody said it. You're absolutely right, because I think somebody said something like this. It was like, when the kid says something to you, it could go away. Mm-hmm. When you respond, now it makes national news.
Right.
Had Cam never said anything, we probably wouldn't have heard about it.
Right.
Yeah,
it's a possibility. We may not have heard anything. The fact that he responded, now it made the news.
Yeah. And Cam shouldn't have responded. I'll say that Cam shouldn't have responded. But again, it's really, really hard to sit there and somebody right over your shoulder, they right next to you, calling you anything. It's really hard. I don't even know if I could have did.
It's really not. It's really not.
Well,
how many times have you seen somebody simply go, "Get this guy out of here"?
But talent. Yeah, I understand that too. But you being a comic on stage, you've heard a lot of people call you names before on stage, and you keep the show going. But a person who hasn't been in that spotlight on that stage and necessarily dealing with that type of thing, because when you're a quarterback on the field, you ain't dealing with that type of stuff that close. Usually it's far up, and you could put it on.
But let's put it in perspective, though. I hear what you're saying, but let's put it in perspective. A kid-on-kid crime is different than the stature of a Cam Newton at this event. When you have the level where you can just remove people, you don't play into that. That's called adult 101. Adult 101 is when two kids are going, now it takes investigation. You got to see who was wrong, who said something first, blah, 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 calm down, or both of y'all going to go. That's a little conversation. But if I'm Cam and I'm sitting there and this is happening, I might give a warning one time, hey, and if it keeps going, hey, bro, he got to go.
Yeah.
He got to go. I'm not going back and forth with a kid.
Yeah. I can't just
even go back and forth with women no more. Much less a kid. When a woman
you're not married. Stop throwing that up.
When a woman says something crazy to me, I'm done. Like I thank God for, what the best thing of social media is? That block button. That block button is the best thing ever.
Yeah. I can't even dispute that. Now let's move on to the next story. I want to move on and talk to the next story, because the next story is something kind of like this. Okay. We all heard about Deon Sanders. We all heard about Deon Sanders taking his job, and he took the job at Jackson State University, right? Jackson State ended up winning the game. They won the game 53-0. Now, what's making the headline news is that Deon Sanders, he got robbed again. Now, if you know that he went down there, when he first went down there, he got robbed of all his belongings and everything else out of his Cadillac as soon as he pulled up. Basically, he wasn't even out the car 5 minutes, and everybody stole all his stuff. He wasn't even when he first got down there. Now he gets down there while he's coaching the game, right? Let me make sure I'm clear. While he's coaching the game, and he's leading Jackson State to a victory that they haven't and never had in their history, 53-0. While he's in there, the home people from the home team go in there, steal all his stuff out of the coach's office. Now he got his stuff stolen. He got his stuff back to him again. But the travesty is that some people took the audacity to rob him again. What's your thought process when you hear about this?
First of all, Deon says you're an ass. Here's the thing. The reality is this, Frank, and this is why I chuckle at it. I chuckle because he's Deon Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's as bad as, I think it's more of a memorabilia type of thing. I don't think it's like rob you like we would get robbed in the hood. I think it's like, oh my God, Deon Sanders is here. So he's at my school. We know where he keeps his stuff. Let's get it. Because all that stuff is memorabilia. You got to realize OJ went to jail for this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
This stuff is worth a lot. And that's how they're looking at it. This is a Hall of Famer. This is one of the best players ever played the game. Now he's a coach. He's I don't care what, if it was a windbreaker, it's a windbreaker over there. He wiped his forehead with the towel. All this stuff, if you're a football fan, is memorabilia. You know what I mean? If I'm Deon Sanders, bro, first of all, I'm coming damn near butt naked. I got on generic sweatsuit. I got on generic sneakers. Because I got to know my impact on who I am. This goes right back to the Cam thing, because you got to know who you are and how people see you. And if you don't know that, you're going to be flying blind many more games.
Yeah. Fig, I'm going to throw the same thing out to you. What's your thought process on this, bro?
You know, the funny thing about it is that I hear what Talon's saying, but that is Deon Sanders, man. He has always been, like, even through, I don't know what he was like in high school, but in college, he was that dude. When Deon Sanders went to the combine, he showed up in all this jewelry and stuff like that, flew in, got on the field, did his 40-yard dash, blew him away, got back on the plane and left. Like, he's always been the show. And not only has he always been a show, he can always back it up. This happened in the coach's office in a locker. So not only did they break in the office, they broke in his locker. They took it or in his office. They took his phone, his watch. They took a whole bunch of stuff, and it was like, yo, man, you really want this guy here? You know, do y'all really want him here to give his cachet? You gotta stop doing this, man, or else guys will stop going back to the hood. Celebrities will stop going back to the hood.
You know what? The big thing about this is Deon Sanders is taking his time, his energy, and effort, because he's trying to turn the HBCU system around. He's one of the only and first people to go out there and do something and to give back. And by being robbed like this, it sends a complete and utter. Talent still laughing.
You know what? Listen,
hold on. It sends a complete, utter wrong message to the people who are out there that what he's trying to do. That's my point. Like,
all I know, Frank, is when a stripper walk by in the strip club, we smack that ass. That's all I know. All I know is if I'm sitting there and a stripper walk by, he is the stripper. This is what America's accustomed to. She walked by, give a little pound. You looking good, boo. Deon Sanders is an icon in football. Whether you're a fan or not, you got to respect the legitimacy of his place in the archives of this game. So here you are, people who love the game, see this icon. Yeah, he's there to coach, but you're talking thousands and thousands of fans. Everybody's not going to respect that. Go, yo, chill, respect that. He's just here to coach. You got the knuckleheads and the people that are like, yo, if I could just get, like, his gloves are in there, I can sell these. First of all, you sell it. You got this piece of memorabilia. You say that you have it. You let it build worth or whatever. We got to keep it. And we're in a pandemic. People need money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What you gonna say, Fig?
Yo, I just wanted to give a little shout out to Doug Williams. You know what I mean? Quarterback who did, do something with HBCUs too. It wasn't just. I mean, Doug Williams is not Deon Sanders, but they're
not robbing Doug Williams. They're
not robbing Doug Williams. No, but here's the thing. This is why rich people move out of the hood. When you make it, you got to move out of the hood. Because here's the thing. This is law 101. You can't go around people that are starving with a bunch of food and think they're not going to tax you.
Yeah. I mean, that's it doesn't get any simpler than that. But I will say this for Deon, say he's thinking he can. You know what I mean? And he ain't going out like he might not have got the memo about don't bring all your stuff down there when he got down there. He got the memo immediately after that, but he's still trying to turn the HBCU system around.
Let me ask you this: How many games in are we so far?
That was one. That was one game.
One game in?
Maybe two.
By game 10, he gonna have on a Walmart sweatsuit, some Vans, and one of those plastic digital Swatch watches.
You know, it's hilarious. This reminds me, in Poetic Justice, this kind of remind me of the commercial that Deion Sanders do when he run by the dude and snatches pizza.
You're right.
Let me ask you all the next question. The next question is Anthony Edwards, right? We all saw the game over the weekend. You saw the dunk. They've been hyping up the dunk. They've been hyping up this dunk forever and ever and a day. Now I'm gonna ask you. Start with you, Talent. They were asking you. The question was this the best dunk ever of all time? I'm not even gonna go that far because I know it was the best dunk of all time.
Hell no.
What'd you say?
Hell no.
No. Yeah. See, exactly. It wasn't the best dunk. But I will ask you this: for you, was it the best dunk you've ever seen by a rookie halfway through the season? Key point: rookie halfway through the NBA season of all time. That's my question to you, Talent. Because Michael Jordan had a couple of dunks with Orlando Warriors with Chicago Bulls. He had one really nasty dunk. But I could say that this Anthony Edwards dunk is right up there with that. Again, at midway point through the season. So that's my question to you, Talent. Anthony Edwards dunk, best dunk you ever seen by a rookie midway through the season?
Yeah, now you got an argument. Now I think you do have an argument. That definitely can be deemed the best dunk. If not, it's definitely top 5. Top 5 best dunk from a rookie midway through the season. I would give it that. I would have to because we could be remiss on certain dunks because when you live through the game so long, surely it's some things you forgot about when somebody did it, whether they was a rookie or not at that time. But yeah, it was sick.
Right. I have to give it to that because Vincent Carter got some sick dunks too, but I don't know if he got some halfway through the season as a rookie like that. So I'm gonna ask you, Fig, rookie halfway through the season before All-Star game, best dunk all time, Anthony Edwards.
It's possibly up there. There's a couple of guys that I'd want to go back and check. Michael Jordan is one. Dominique. I'd like to see what Vince Carter did when he was a rookie. Maybe the Rain Man. I'm not sure. Definitely the Doctor. The Doctor might have had something, but this here gotta be top 5 for the category that you're putting him in because he bodied this dude. Not only did he dunk on him in his face, he knocked the guy down when he dunked and then landed on him at the same time. So he dunked on him, bodied him, and then made him a cushion to fall on to break his fall. It was just sick. It was monstrous. It was a monstrous dunk, man. I can see them talking about this for the next few months, for probably the rest of the NBA season. Easy.
Wait, this is what you got to figure out. Was his balls on him?
He probably was. I think so. I think yes.
Because in basketball, that means a lot,
Yeah, right. But
when you get dunked on and these nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens. Let me say this too. I know for a fact that definitely made his highlight reel for the rest of his career. You know what I mean? Like wherever he goes, whatever he does, they're gonna always say, "Oh, you remember that Anthony? We got to put that Anthony Edwards dunk and and everything else he does." You know what I'm saying? They got to be.
Because I think on
the problem is you got to follow himself too. You got to keep in mind, you might be chasing that dunk for the rest of your career, trying to follow yourself. You know what I mean? Like that's hard to do. Any gentleman out here, any grown ass man that made love to a woman in their lifetime, no, you don't don't go crazy in that first session.
Yo, analogy for talent. Let me tell you why it was a twofer. Because in the beginning of the dunk, when he first dunked on him, He dunked on him and put his balls on him, and then he knocked him down, put his ass on him when he landed. So it's a ball ass thing. It's an ass ball.
His team looked at him when they got up and said, "Hey man, you got to play some D." He said, "I am playing." He said, "No, D's nuts."
Oh, y'all crack yourselves up. Y'all crack. All right, let me keep it going. Let me keep it going to the next thing I want to talk about. Right, the Nets played the Clippers last night. Right, and here's the thing that had me like sitting here, kind of getting a little bit perturbed with the NBA the way we are now. Backstory: Paul George is on a minutes restriction. The game is tight towards the end of the game. Paul George comes out the game. They don't bring him back in the game. The game is tight. 2 minutes, 30 seconds left to go because he meets his minute restriction. I don't think, now this is me, I don't think 2 minutes and 30 seconds was going to bother him one way or the other if he had played, that game, especially when it was the two best teams, supposedly two of the best teams in the NBA battling against each other. So as soon as he went out, you know what happened? The Nets started to run away with that. So I'm going to throw that out there, and I'm going to say, I'm going to throw it out there and say to you, Talent, what you think about what's going on with the NBA with this minutes restriction right now?
Man, they got to get a hold of this, man. You can't be that technical about it. Mm-hmm. Here's my thing, bro. Like, let's say you're in this situation. This is a big game. You're playing a big contender. You go ahead to win that game. You go ahead and put those 2 minutes on the board. And you can always make up that 2 minutes in another game. Because they're going to be blowout games where you go, hey, you know what? You spent two extra minutes this game. Sit down 2 minutes because we're up 10, we're up 20, whatever the case may be. But to me, I think you want to test your team the most when you're playing the best teams. Right. This is one of those teams that they're talking about reaching the end game, the finals. So when you're up against some games, why wouldn't you want to test to see if you can fire on all cylinders and beat these guys?
Exactly. I can't even dispute that. Fig, what you think?
Yo, man, he's absolutely right, man. I didn't know why they took Paul George out of the game. Then found out because he was on a minute restrictions coming off an injury, and they didn't want him to, re-aggravate an injury that he was coming off of. So, but I don't think the 2 minutes would have hurt. Plus, they would said that they're off tomorrow, and then the next team that they have to play is Washington. So he probably could have, he got a day off today. And he probably could have took off the Washington game, you know what I mean, and just had that whole day off and just played the 2 minutes yesterday. But, I mean, look, it was close. It was tight. Maybe Paul George would have made the difference, maybe not. But here's something you got to think about. It was a really good game. It was tight at the end. And whether Paul George was in or not, the one thing that you got to think about, Kevin Durant didn't play. That was just James and Kyrie. That was a dope game. So imagine what it's going to look like when he makes his return.
Here's another question for you. How do you guys think that Coach Kyrie Irving, Coach Steve Nash is doing right now? Because I'm throwing that out there because what's happening right now. Because I only say that because James Harden became the point guard, right? Since James Harden been playing the point guard, they haven't lost the game. They haven't lost the game since he became point. And since Kyrie said you're gonna be point, they haven't lost. And over teams over 500, they are 12-4. They are the best NBA team right now playing against teams that have winning percentages right now. That's where they are as a team. So now that Kyrie Irving is in his position, Harden is the point guard. What are you thinking about the Nets' chances right now of winning the NBA championship right now? Because here's the thing too, Talent. All of them haven't still played together as a whole for a series of consecutive games.
Well, I'll be honest with you, man. I feel like I got utmost confidence in them, and not for that reason, but for the reason of Kyrie Irving's play. He's insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like watching this dude is in his bag, man. Like, and watching him play, and I see why he did what he did, because it's a whole different ball game if he can get that rock off the ball than bringing it up. He's smart. He figured out a twofer, and that's like putting himself in a better position and putting Harden in a better mental position.
Right.
Because if I'm Harden, I'm taking that a certain way, like, I'm with Kyrie and KD, and they trust me to be the guy and bring the rock up. But really, actuality, Kyrie knows that he's gonna bust your ass worse coming off the ball.
Oh, that's a great point. That's a great point. Fig, what you think?
He set himself up.
Yo, man, I thought it was so poetic last night that you said what you said, Frank, because I think Steve Kerr actually gave an interview yesterday. I think it was the first one that I see. It was like Kyrie was like, he was like, yo, Steve, go ahead. You could do the interview this time. And then he slapped him on the behind when he was going to the camera and get the mic. It's like, you can do the interview, but yo, I'm picking. There's 3 teams that I'm picking to go to the finals, barring injury. I'm picking the Nets, the LA Lakers, if Anthony Davis come back healthy, and the Clippers, man. I think those are the 3 teams that got the best chance to win it. I don't even know who else could possibly come out of the East. Maybe Philly, maybe, but I don't think they've beaten. I don't think they've beaten Brooklyn if all those dudes is healthy.
Now, the reason why I'm asking that question is because the simple fact being the Nets are not who we thought they were without playing defense, because right now they're playing much better basketball. They're moving the ball. They just doing things. They're still not playing no defense, but they are still they're running it up. They're not really playing defense. I watched last. They're not really playing defense. Not really playing defense. But what they're doing is if you miss and they get what happens is they're getting the rebounds. You know what I mean? They're not playing no defense. When you miss, they still take the ball down and they go down and score. That's what they're doing. They're making sure they get the rebound to score. And we all know whoever has the most points of the game at the end of the game wins. And if they're getting the offensive rebounds or the defensive rebounds, they go down and scoring. Their philosophy may be, hey, we don't got to play defense as long as we get the rebound. You know what I mean? So maybe
I'm waiting for them to change the game up and put those trampolines in. You ever go see the halftime at the game? They bring the tramp. When the game go there, it's gonna be crazy. Talk about high flying.
Everybody will be dunking.
Yeah, everybody. Let me ask you all the next question, man. Speaking of dunking and everything else, over the weekend, even though the Sixers lost last night to Toronto, over the weekend, Joel Embiid got a 50-point game, 17 rebound game, and he is doing phenomenal work. Listen, that brother literally could be putting up some numbers where people could be saying, and not could be, he is putting up numbers where he should be the leading candidate for the MVP. Unfortunately, he's not, because we're looking at a 36, 37-year-old playing in the NBA by the name of LeBron James. But I'm going to say right now to you, talent, should Joel Embiid, after the numbers he's putting up this year, should he be the MVP this year? Because how many times do we see a center who've gone from numbers he had before to putting up caliber? I don't think I've ever seen and I watched NBA all my life, I've never seen an NBA center make such a large leap as he did from last year, from the last couple of years to what he's doing this year, and then not be considered for MVP. So I think he should be, right, in my opinion, he should be MVP so far this year. What's your thoughts, Talent?
Nah.
Tell me what you think.
He's a bum. He's still gonna be a bum. Don't get it twisted, because right now we're sitting in the middle of the season, and we're seeing that 50-point game. He's doing good, and I'm happy for him. But I really believe, like I said at the beginning of the season, if Joel Embiid can finish a full season like with this energy, I would agree with you. But right now, no.
Okay, so no, definite no. Fig, what's your thoughts?
He called him a bum.
Yeah, no.
Yo, I was like, this dude dropped 50, and you called him a bum.
He's a bum.
That's hilarious. Yo, you know what that is? You're a sly one, Mr. Grinch. That's awful. And let me say something about LeBron. Since Anthony Davis went out, they've been losing. So how you gonna be? You can't. I mean, I know he's 36 and he's been playing well, but your team is losing, and you know what happens with the MVP. Your team gotta win.
That's why I'm saying what I said. That's why I'm saying what I said. Because right now his team's losing, and we all had this discussion about MVPs can't be on losing teams. So with the
but how does that work, Frank? If you missing a key piece, you can't do that, because injury is part of the game. And when people lose key pieces, teams will get losses. Joel Embiid, y'all think he's great. 50-point game the other night. Oh, look at him. He should be MVP. Let a key piece drop out.
Yeah, but that's not the
point. Losing like he did the other night too.
But we could be doing what ifs forever, but that's not the point. The point is you said a couple of weeks ago, which is my whole argument. You said a couple of weeks ago, when the team loses, you can't be considered for that at all. You can't do it.
No, I didn't say that. That's Rodney. I said you can be. Remember, Rodney we were arguing about Bradley Beal, and he was on a losing team, and I was fighting for Beal. Rodney was saying, no, you never pick an MVP on a losing team. I'm saying it's part of the game. Mm-hmm. So my thing is, it doesn't make the player any worse when he loses pieces and they start racking up L's as opposed to W's. If Joel Embiid, same way he's playing right now, loses a piece or two, and now they start losing, he still keep his strong numbers, what you going to do? Change it up now? Now he's not. You said he's valid for MVP. So if he still keep those numbers up, I believe he should be.
Well, at the end of the day, the NBA is going to look at W's and how you're doing. At the end of the day, no matter how we feel, I don't think it's fair regardless. You know what I mean? I don't think it's fair regardless. What you gonna say, Fig? Go ahead.
No, like the last guy who made MVP. Was it Bradley? It wasn't Bradley. It wasn't Bill Bradley. It was who's the dude from the Lakers?
I don't know what your point you're trying to make. So
the last guy who won MVP with a losing squad. I think it's when the NBA was in black and white.
That was the guy who became a senator. Bradley something or other.
Bill Bradley.
His name is Bradley something. Yeah, he became a senator. I know what you're talking about, but go ahead.
He's from LA, right? Who's the dude from LA? He's a logo, Indian logo.
Yeah. Okay, but make your point, Fig. Make your point.
No, well, the point is, the last time a guy won MVP on a losing team, TV was in black and white. They don't do it no more. Everybody since then, you got to be on a winning team. That the criteria to be the MVP is you got to be the best player on a winning team or the most valuable player on a winning team. If your team is losing, that's like, I don't get a vote, gentlemen. You know what I mean? But the best player on the winning team is the dude who got MVP. Look, everybody thought that LeBron was better than Giannis last year.
So
Giannis won because he was on the winning team and he was the best player.
So here's the thing. What do we say when we say winning team? There's been MVPs on teams that didn't go to the chip, didn't make it to the chip, still got MVP. They had a decent season or a good season, but they didn't go to the chip. So winning to what extent? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but it's regular season.
Right, but
there's a MVP and then there's a regular season MVP. So whoever got the best record and the best player on a team during the regular season, after the 82, well, this year 72, when the 72 games is over, that's when they make they look at the numbers and they make their decision based on the regular season. The playoffs and the finals, that's a different MVP.
Well, the answer is no.
Okay, well, that's why I'm saying I wanted to throw it out there because according to the NBA criteria of what they set up and everything else, if Joel Embiid is not the MVP, then I think they should throw the whole thing out the window because according to the rules that they set up and how they put it in premise with the W's and you saw there, he should be the MVP. But LeBron,
I'm going on the record to say I don't care about their rules. These are my rules. This is the TBA.
Yo, that's crazy. You know what? And listen, I want the MVP to be Julius Randle of the New York Knicks.
Okay, I'm about to cut your mic off.
No, we're on the winning. The Knicks is winning, and he's the best player on a winning team.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's not the criteria what we're talking about. The criteria we're talking about is as they put in play right now, right? They look at who's winning in the East, who's winning in the West. In the East, the best team right now on paper in the East is the Philadelphia 76ers. So why isn't he considered MVP?
I need you to understand.
Yes.
I hate the word criteria.
I do too. But that's how they label it. Yeah, but this the only reason why I brought it up is because it brings back my issue that I had, and I've been saying for a long time. Whereas, at the end of the day, the NBA should pick who's the best player. Period. Not on whether you're losing. It doesn't matter. Who's the best player. Period. And
I agree with you with that.
That's right. Criteria is what happened back in the day after your mother gave you a beating. You cried curious.
No, Phil, criteria is when they don't have the food you want in the cafeteria.
Y'all are stupid. Just what y'all do. Y'all stupid. All right. Let me just throw this last NBA question out there because I want to see if I get into the NFL real fast. Minnesota fired Ryan Sanders last night, mid-season, which never really happens. Now, Minnesota ended up getting Minnesota ended up getting Ryan Sanders. They ended up getting Chris Finkel from the Raptors to replace him. Now, this is the conversation we were having several times. NBA coaches being put in positions who not necessarily have the criteria to be an NBA coach. You know what I mean? We literally had this discussion several times. Now, the reason why I bring it up is because Ryan Sanders does not have the resume and did not have the resume to be a coach on the Minnesota Timberwolves versus all the other black coaches that are sitting there waiting, like Mark Jackson. I mean, we go on and on and on. He ends up getting it. Now Minnesota Timberwolves has the worst record in the NBA, and they are literally focusing on Karl Anthony Towns because conversations now is saying he might want to get up out of there, which realistically he does. He's dealing with COVID right now, but he's on a 7-24 team. He wants to leave. If you are sitting back saying right now, as an NBA watcher, what's your thought process on how the NBA's handle all this talent?
I don't like it, man. I think we can already go down a very slippery slope. I think in about a year or two from now, it's going to be no going back. If we keep moving pieces or allowing pieces to just bounce around because they don't like the record or, that we're losing, whatever the case may be, you're setting a really bad example. And one thing about the big league is the little leagues are watching.
Right.
So when you walk down this slippery slope, the little leagues are watching, and you're going to have cats in high schools and college level that's going to start following suit. And I'm telling you right now, it's going to mess everything up. It's just like when we got to the point and we were like, oh, yeah, let everybody come from high school, 2, 3 years, 4 years of high school, no college. And that's a different criteria, if you will. When you set the stage with this, I think it's a slippery slope that we're not going to be able to come back from because you're going to get all these good players and supposedly losing places, and they go, oh, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go over here. And once everybody's doing it, this league's going to be screwed up, bro.
Yeah, I agree with you. Fig, what you think?
Actually, the coach's name is Finkelheimer, and they named that song after him. The Finkelheimer song. And I think that's the new coach. And let me tell you why the coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves got fired. Because they got beat by the Knicks. That's what happened. You get beat by the Knicks, you get fired. That's the rule. You can't lose to the Knicks. That's what happens. That's an NBA rule. Yeah. You lose to the Knicks, you get fired. Out of here. Yo, get out of here. That's what they say. Yo, tell them. Yo, get out of here.
Get out of here.
If that was true, there'd be a whole lot more people really getting fired. Because at the end of the day, the Knicks are playing really good basketball. They
gotta lose the record. Think about this. This is far-fetched, but think about this. Because we talked about the fans, right? And it stems from the word fanatic.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's going to happen, like fast forward 5-10 years, if we keep up doing this and allowing this and go down this slippery slope, you're going to have fans relocate. They're going to be like, what made you move to Seattle? Man, they've traded my place. What? You leave sunny Florida to go to Seattle? Think about that.
Yo, that's not far-fetched. Let me tell you why that's not far-fetched. You got some guys that don't even have, maybe females too, don't let me be sexist. You got some people, some fans that they don't have a team. They just got their favorite player. You know who our favorite player is? LeBron James. Every time LeBron James move, they switch teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's not far-fetched.
And Rodney almost moved to LA, but then he got COVID.
Oh yeah,
he did live in LA for a while.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to reach out to Rodney and say, Rodney, did you move to LA because of? Inquiring minds want to know because you've been doing this Atlanta, LA back and forth. All right, let me ask the next question. Next question is changing things up to the NFL. Next question is we've talked about Dak Prescott for a long time and everything else, but then something came out over the weekend about him doing his deal. And I'm gonna ask you this, Talent. Do you think Dak Prescott wanting to stay in Dallas and saying the stuff he said, how much he's loving over Dallas and how much he loved, he's been a Dallas fan his whole life. He grew up being a Dallas fan. Do you think he's ruining his deal right now, Talent? I'm gonna throw because of how much he loves and he wants to stay in Dallas. Do you think he's doing that?
No, I think what happened is I think the agents and the lawyers told him to start doing some positive spin on it right now. That means the paperwork's on the table. When the paperwork gets on the table, then they say, okay, be careful, nothing negative. It look like this thing gonna go through, and now you start the positive spin. Now, if your lawyers and agents said, man, they're playing hardball over here, then it would have been a different spin. I think the paperwork's probably on the table. He's getting a good vibe, maybe a couple of personal phone calls from people in high places. And he's going, oh, I love it here. Because he's big up in that. He's doing too much. I love the cleats. The cleats are real cushiony. Too much. I think he's kissing a little booty right now.
All right, okay, Fig, what you think?
Hey man, Tyler could be right, man. Dak looked at Jerry and said, "Yo, man, I love this place, man. This, the playpen. This is sexy. I love this stage. Look at the TV. This TV is lovely. I've never seen a flat screen this big, Jerry. This is lovely. I'd love to be a Dallas Cowboy, man. That's what I want to be. My whole life when I was growing up, I was a Dallas Cowboy fan, and I'd love to be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboy, Jerry. But you got to pay me, Jerry. You got to give me my money, or else I'm leaving. That's right. Let me give you a Pelican brief. Dak Prescott gets traded to the New York Jets for Sam Darnold and a couple of picks, and Jerry gets a Caucasian quarterback on the cheap to fit into his salary cap, and then Sam Darnold gets a big contract from Jerry Jones.
Talent. Fig is making me want to press his mic off again 2 times in one shot. Like,
why? It's not possible. It's not. They was
all these New York references and everything else. You're turning too much of a New York fan. I know you love New York, but come on, come on.
Yeah, says the guy who wears the Boston hat on every show.
And doesn't talk about Boston at all. Notice that fact. I ain't talking about it yet.
Yeah, because they lost last night. That's why you don't want to talk about them.
Yeah. I ain't get to that point. I'm not gonna let I will not, for the record, for this show, I will never let my fandom oversee my psyche.
No. Honestly, I think that's possible. I mean, if Jerry's gonna get up off of Dak, is that not a possibility? I mean, there's only a couple of teams that have a lot of pieces that they could give up for a player. One being Miami, which a lot of people think Deshaun Watson is going to go, and the New York Jets.
Yeah, also but you're forgetting the key factor in his deal. One major factor in his deal is he loves Dallas. So one big thing is,
I think that's PR.
Hold on, let me finish. One major thing he got in his thing is he's going to have a no trade clause. That's what he's definitely going to have in his factor in his trade. Like, he's not going to get traded anywhere because it's going to be probably item 2 or item 3. Like, if I sign this contract, I'm not, contracts that big have no trade clause, so he can't get traded. So, obviously it's the money. The second thing is the years, and the third thing is going to be no trade clause.
He doesn't have a contract.
I even said it out. I said it out of order. First thing is going to be the years. Second is going to be the money. Third thing is going to be the guaranteed money, and then it's going to be the no trade clause. So it's not possible. No, it's not possible.
But here's the thing: Dak doesn't have a contract.
I'm saying he does have a contract. He turned down the contract they offered him 3 times. He has offered already on the table. He was like, no, I don't want that. They kept coming, and they're upset. Dallas is upset because he hasn't accepted the contract offers that they made him. He wants 37. They came in at 30, 32. He wants 37 per year. That's what, and we all like, okay, that's about right for him. And he's like, no, it's not right, and he doesn't want to accept it. So that's where we're at right about now.
I totally get it. They've been trying to get me to work at Walmart for 6 years. I'm just not. I've turned that down 6 years in a row. I don't care. I'm not gonna do it.
Not enough money. I think Dak is going to get. I think his franchise tag is 37 this year, and I think Dak wants close to 40.
Yeah, possibly.
I think he wants like maybe 40 million because that's the going rate.
But for him, it's not. For the numbers he put up, is that his going rate is around between 33, 35. At the rate he wants, 40 million, he's literally in Patrick Mahomes level. He's not Patrick Mahomes, and he's not on Patrick Mahomes level. 40's not it. That's not. And maybe that's what Dallas is talking about. Like, yeah, we're not giving you 40. Who knows what he's asking for?
Listen, Dallas is in a position where they can pay him to 37 and get nothing. That's what they're going to do. Because Dak, I mean, if I was Dak, I mean, he's in what they call a catbird seat. You owe me 37 on a franchise tag. I played it 1 year and then I bounce and you ain't got no more hold on me. I'm done.
Yeah, but you're forgetting one part. He wants to play in Dallas. He loves Dallas. He wants to stay in Dallas. He's been saying it for years. He's been Dallas Cowboys fan. It's like when you grow up. It's just like you grow up. You get ready to play professional basketball. You're from New York, and now you get drafted by the Knicks. It's gonna be real hard for you to say, "I'm gonna go play for Cleveland," or "I'm gonna go play for."
And the cleats are cushioning. He loves the cleats. And Frank had that B. Every time you talk, Frank, that B is but.
Yeah, the B stands for but, not Boston.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I hear what you're saying, but I'm from New York. I got drafted by the Knicks, and I'm asking for a contract. The Knicks want to pay me 32, but Dallas wants to pay me 40. Do I go to Dallas for the 40 million, or do I stay in New York for the 32? Who cares? I mean, at the end of the day, it's really about your money.
Yeah, for you. For him, it's about his family. And we all know about him and his family. It's for him about one of his brothers passed away. His other family can come see him all the time. It's for him. It's about his family. For him to leave, it's not even about the money and everything. I think it's about the principle of it right now. That's what I think, because he's so tight with his family. His family and his friends come see him play in Dallas all the time. He's ingrown in the community. He's from the Dallas area, all that whole area. For him to leave, it's not about money. It's about the principle.
Well, let me answer you this, Frank. If all of what you say is true, why didn't he sign the contract already?
Like I said, it's the principle. He does not want to be rated as in the bottom tier of the quarterbacks. It's the principle. He wants to be rated in the top 5 because he is a top 5. The offer they offered him is midterm or lower. It's about the principle to me. I mean, that's what I've been reading. Now, we don't know because I'm not in his head, but he ain't the money. There ain't no big difference between $8 million once you get past 15, 20 million.
That was the first question of the show. We was talking about the guy turning down $8 million. It was like $8 million. $8 million is a lot of cheese, man.
Yes, I'm not saying it's not. But what I'm saying is once you've made so much money, that baseball player just got his first contract where he's made that much money. But once you've made so much money,
I love the box seats. But if ESPN offered me $8 million, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I don't think there's nobody disputing that fact. Like, we can't even get mad. See, look at that. The time is gone already for the show.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
But wait. But
wait.
No buts. Hey, now I need to get an NB hat. No buts. Tell everybody out there how they can follow you.
Hey, it's your boy Talent on Facebook, King Talent, on Instagram, Talent the Comedian, and on Twitter at It's Just Comedy.
Fig, it's all you.
Yo, you can follow your boy and comedian Fig on all social media platforms, baby. And if you can't find me there, Monday through Friday, right here on the Bud Seats, the best damn sports show on TV.
By the way, I want to say, Talent, you had an amazing comedy show last night, bro. That was very, very funny. Tell everybody about that comedy show you did last night real fast.
Oh, you was there?
Bro, I got in and out, man. I was,
okay.
I was in and out. I got to see you.
It's something we're going to be doing. The virtual comedy takeover every couple of weeks. Shout out to my girl, Onika McLean, my son, Young Talent. Julio Diaz was on there. We had my girl, Just Pam, come through. It was awesome, man. We had a nice crowded little room, and we look forward to doing it every couple of weeks. But you got a ton of people, even though we got people getting out, you still got a ton of people that ain't getting out. So we're doing it for you.
Yeah. And you know what? You was funny. I got in just enough time to see you do your stand up. Hey, cool. Could you do that sound you do one more time before we leave up? You know your sound. You do that.
Boogie.
All right, y'all. That's the show. There you go. That's the show. It's called The Box Seat. We're on the Humor Mill channel on every day, Monday through Friday from 1 to 2. Y'all, thanks for watching. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Make sure you download the Humor Mill app so you keep up to date with all the shows that we got going on. Humor Mill app is everywhere. Y'all, thanks for watching. Tomorrow, Tony Roberts be a guest on the show.
Tony!
Shout
out Tony Roberts, baby.
It's going to be hilarious. Y'all make sure y'all check it out. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.